The piano selection is always a big moment for me because every instrument is just so different. It's always very hard, especially if you have pianos on such a high level. And it basically comes down to little details. And I have to always be careful to not get stuck too much in those little details, because once you start with that, there is no end to it. When I play, I want to feel like I'm kind of taking a bath in the sound, and that it's warm and comforting. I do not like very much when an instrument is too loud or too brilliant, because for me, personally, I find it more difficult to play soft than play loud. So I look for a big range in the softer register. For me, it's always the biggest challenge to actually play a note that's so soft that you barely can hear it, but still the person in the last row can catch that sound. There's always a few pieces I try. One of it is something I always play as an encore when I play a recital or when I play with orchestra. It's Gnossian No. 1 by Satie, like something like this. That's what I love about pianos, that you can play so much in that range, and then sometimes I'm looking for a really warm, loud sound that would be like more. And sometimes it's like something really painful and sharp. So a piano should ideally be able to provide all these kind of different sound characteristics, but it's, for me, like the most important part is those like soft parts. Over the last 10 years, I've come to really understand this incredible skill piano technicians have that probably make up 70% of the result of the performance of the evening. Having one piano with two actions, I only experienced so far in London. So this is probably the second or third time. You get one like really incredible body, and then you can insert different teeth. I really hope that we can have that kind of solution more in the future, because it's actually really incredible to see how much it changes the sound of the piano. It also changes the touch, the manual touch. Yeah, the way of producing different colors changes. I think I prefer this one.
It's got a real noble.
Yes, it does, no? It does, but it's not too soft.
No.
Right?
No, I mean, you have to work a little harder. It has got quality.
Das ist quasi der eine und der klingt quasi am allerebensten, ist aber auch sehr schwer vom Anschlag. Und dann gibt es quasi noch einen.
It's very difficult to put these things in words, and I'm not very talented in that. So trying to even come to a common ground sometimes I find very challenging. It's like probably when you talk about wine, like these different words like creaminess or dryness or mineralic. People don't always mean the same thing, and I think it's the same thing with pianos. I would probably describe the taste in wine quite similar to my taste in the piano. I like when something has a complex aftertaste, like the taste develops after the first second, and that's what I also love about pianos. Music is not only about the notes that are played, but it's about the pauses, the colors, and the tension in between. Like my favorite example is the transition from the first movement into the second movement of Beethoven's Third Piano Concerto. It's written in C minor, a very dark color, And the second movement is written in E major. And on the keyboard, like E major is not related to C minor. So it's a very fast stretch. I do not believe in the audience to educate themselves enough so that they understand that. But I think it's my job to make them understand that this was an incredible leap. And so instead of taking my hands down and like the orchestra and the conductor to kind of relax before starting the second movement, I think it makes sense to hold the tension. So when we end this way and everybody freezes, and then we go into I think everybody will understand that that was actually a magical moment and that this is the genius of Beethoven without knowing what really happened. But I think that's the magic of music.
Ja, dann versuchen wir es mit dem einfach, oder? Warte mal, lass mich jetzt noch mal, was könnte ich sonst noch spielen?